Welcome to another installment of TPM 4-Minute Fridays. My name is Bruce Harris, and I'm a Senior Application Engineer at TPM. Today's topic is going to be assigning Revit MEP receptacle loads by both type and by instance parameters. So with that said, let's flip over to Revit and get started. Now over in Revit, what we're going to do is we're going to place some receptacles. So I have loaded the duplex receptacle family that comes with Revit MEP, and it has two members, a ground fault and a standard. So I'm going to use standard the first time around, place it on this wall. Let's do a ground fault one, and then go back and do a standard one again. Okay, now that we've placed these receptacles, if I select one of these receptacles, we notice over here in my properties, the properties you see here are instance properties, and we do not see the load, and we do not see the type. If we go here to edit type, that's where these two fields are. So this is where the load is coming from. It is a type parameter. And further down, there is a label associated with it that is also a type parameter. So, if we want to make a different type of receptacle, so in other words, one that has a dedicated load, like maybe a copier, okay, what I would need to do in this instance is to duplicate the standard one and give it a new name. Then I can give it the load that I want that to have that is different than the standard. And if I want it labeled, I can also come in here and give it a label so that it will be labeled. So now I have a new receptacle type called copier, and it has a dedicated load on it. So when we click on it, we go to edit type. It's a new one here, copier. That's the load that it has on it, and of course I gave it a label as well. And if we go back to the standard one, it has the same load and no label that it had before. So out of the box, that's the way they intended you to do these receptacles. Now some people like that and don't have any problem with that. Other people would like to be able to vary the load of their receptacle each time they place it. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to undo back before I had made a copier out of that one. And we're going to show you another way to approach it. What we're going to do now is we're going to change the parameter from a type parameter to an instance parameter. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go into Edit Family. And once I'm in the family, I'm going to go over here to my Family Types. Select my Family Types, and Load and Label are both there. So I'm going to click on Load. I'm going to modify this parameter. And although there are some things you cannot change in here, you can change between type and instance. So I'm going to say it's going to be an instance parameter. And I'm going to do the same thing with label. I'm going to modify it and make it an instance parameter. Now those are the only two changes I needed to make, so I'm going to go ahead and load it back into the project. And I'm going to override it in the parameters. So now each one of these can have its own load and its own label. So that's the default load, so I'll go in here and give it my heavier load for my copier, and I can even tell it it's going to be a copier. So now this has its value, and the standard receptacle has its standard value, and it can vary each time I place one of these. Now when you do it this way, It only affects the family that you modified. So if I were to come in here and say load in another family, let's do the weatherproof receptacle, and we're to place it, notice that it does not have a load per instance, and it does not have a label per instance. It is the standard out of the box. So the changes we made only affect the family that we made it to. This has been another presentation in the series of 4-Minute Fridays from TPM. My name is Bruce Harris, and I want to thank you for joining us and invite you to come back and watch again. Thank you.